A family is supposed to be an anchor, a circle of strength that holds you through the darkest times. But what happens when that circle is shattered? Not by something from the inside, but by some unknown force that plucks an entire family from their lives, leaving nothing behind but silence and 1,000 questions. One day they're making dinner and planning for the future, and the next, their homes are empty, their cars abandoned, and they're just gone. Today, we're looking into the most baffling cases of families who vanished without a trace, exploring the haunting theories that still mystify investigators. These are the stories of silent homes, unanswered questions, and the chilling reality that sometimes an entire family can simply disappear. Our first case is one of Oregon's oldest and most haunting mysteries, a disappearance that gripped the Pacific Northwest for over 66 years before a stunning breakthrough. On December 7, 1958, Kenneth and Barbara Martin, along with their 3 daughters, 14-year-old Barbie, 13-year-old Virginia, and 11-year-old Susan, left their Portland home. It was a wholesome Sunday outing. They were driving their cream-colored 1954 Ford station wagon into the beautiful Columbia River Gorge to gather greenery for Christmas wreaths. They were expected home that evening. They never arrived. The alarm wasn't raised until Monday, when both Kenneth and Barbara failed to show up for work. What followed was the largest search in Oregon's history at the time. Police combed the vast, rugged landscape of the gorge, a place known for its breathtaking cliffs and the deep, powerful currents of the Columbia River. But they found nothing. No sign of a crash, no skid marks, not even the abandoned car. The family and their station wagon had vanished. The first tragic break in the case came almost 5 months later, in May 1959. The bodies of the 2 youngest daughters, Susan and Virginia, were found in the Columbia River, about 30 miles apart. The official cause of death was drowning. But this discovery just made the mystery deeper. Where were Kenneth, Barbara, and their oldest daughter, Barbie? And where was the car? Investigators strongly suspected foul play. A stolen handgun was found near where the family was last seen, and 2 ex-convicts were questioned, but nothing could ever be definitively linked to the Martins. For decades, the case went cold. Theories swirled. Was it a horrible accident where the car plunged into the river? Or was it a brutal crime, a robbery or kidnapping gone wrong? The family's eldest son, Donald, who was away in the Navy at the time, was left to face the unimaginable loss of his entire family. Then, 66 years later, the case broke wide open. In late 2024, an independent diver named Archer Mayo, who had been obsessively searching for the family for years, located a vehicle submerged in the Columbia River near Cascade Locks. It was under 50 feet of water, buried in mud. In March 2025, recovery crews carefully pulled the wreckage from the river. What came to the surface was the rusted, debris-filled frame of a car. While the VIN was too corroded to be certain, the make, model, and color matched the Martin family's 1954 Ford. The Hood River County Sheriff's Department is treating the discovery as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. While no human remains were found in the initial wreckage, forensic analysis is underway. Recovering the car is a monumental step, but it still doesn't answer the ultimate question: what happened to Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie Martin on that cold winter day in 1958? While the Martin family disappeared from the road, our next case is about a family torn apart by a house fire that left behind far more questions than answers. It was Christmas Eve, 1945, in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, George, Jenny, and 9 of their 10 children, were all asleep in their 2-story house. Around 1 a.m., a fire broke out, and the wooden home was quickly engulfed in flames. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children managed to escape the inferno. But 5 of the kids, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and little Betty, were trapped upstairs. In the chaos, George frantically tried to rescue them. He ran to get his large ladder, but it was mysteriously missing from its usual spot. He then tried to pull one of his work trucks up to the house to climb on, but somehow, neither of his trucks would start, even though they'd worked perfectly the day before. By the time the fire department finally arrived hours later, they were delayed, they claimed, because they couldn't get their chief on the phone. The Sodder home was nothing but a smoldering pile of ash. The most heartbreaking part: no remains of the 5 missing children were ever found in the debris. The official ruling was that the fire had been hot enough to completely cremate their bodies. Death certificates were issued just a few days later, but George and Jenny Sodder never believed it. Jenny had once worked in a crematorium and knew it took hours of intense, controlled heat to destroy bone. Much more than a typical house fire, their suspicions grew as more strange facts emerged. A telephone repairman said the Sodders' phone line appeared to have been cut, not burned. The family also remembered a man who tried to sell them life insurance months earlier. When George refused, the man became angry and warned him that his house would go up in smoke and his children are going to be destroyed. This led the Sodders to a terrifying conclusion. Their children hadn't died in the fire. They'd been kidnapped, and the fire was just a diversion. They put up a large, haunting billboard on Route 16 with pictures of their missing kids, offering a reward for any information. For the rest of their lives, they chased every lead, including a mysterious photo they received in the 1960s that was supposedly their son Louis, all grown up. Despite their endless search, the fate of the 5 Sodder children remains one of America's most chilling unsolved mysteries. Now, we jump forward to the modern era, with a mystery just as baffling and filled with bizarre, unsettling clues. In October 2009, Bobby Jameson, his wife Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter, Madison, disappeared in the remote Sambois Mountains of Oklahoma. The family had been looking to buy a 40-acre plot of land there, hoping to start a quieter life off the grid. 8 days after they were last seen, their pickup truck was found abandoned on a lonely dirt road. Inside was a strange collection of items, their wallets, phones, and IDs. Their dog Maisie was malnourished, but still alive. And then there was the most bizarre discovery of all: a bank bag stuffed with $32,000 in cash, hidden under the driver's seat. But the family was gone. The investigation was immediately swamped with strange details. On the family's camera, police found a final, haunting photo of Madison, taken the day they disappeared. Friends and family said that in the weeks before they vanished, Bobby and Sherilyn had been acting strangely. They seemed withdrawn and had lost a lot of weight. They'd even told their pastor they believed their house was haunted. The theories were as wide-ranging as they were dark. Did they get lost and die from exposure? Probably not, since they were only a few miles from their truck. Was it a murder-suicide? It's possible, But why would they leave their beloved dog behind, or the $32,000 in cash? The most popular theory centers on that money. Was it for a drug deal that went horribly wrong? Even Bobby's father, who was in a nasty lawsuit with him at the time, was looked at. For 4 long years, there were no answers. Then, in November 2013, deer hunters found the family's skeletal remains less than 3 miles from the truck. They were lying side by side, face down on a hillside. The discovery, however, brought no closure. Because the bodies were so decomposed, the medical examiner couldn't determine a cause of death for any of them. There were no bullet holes, no signs of broken bones. The Jameson family's final moments remain a complete mystery. What happened to them in those woods? These aren't just stories. They're real tragedies for the families left behind, who live with the constant burden of not knowing. What do you think happened to the Martins, the Sodder family, or the Jamesons? Let us know your theories, respectfully of course, in the comments. It's a way to keep their stories alive and the search for answers going. And if you find these mysteries as compelling as we do, please give this video a like and subscribe for more. From a fiery Christmas Eve in 1945 to a deserted mountain road in 2009, the idea that an entire family can just vanish is uniquely terrifying. It shatters our sense of security and reminds us that some mysteries might run so deep they'll never be solved. The silence these families leave behind is deafening, filled with questions that may never be answered, and the endless grief of those still waiting. For the Martins, the Sodders, and the Jamesons, the search for truth goes on, a chilling testament to the void left behind when a family is gone without a trace.